Here is my new moon broadcast. It's a new moon in Pisces today. It actually it became exact this morning at 1:24 a.m. in the UK. So I'm a little late putting this in, but I thought it's an interesting day, isn't it? Because it's the day before the spring equinox, and it's also the day of a new moon. In fact, the first sighting of the new moon will probably be tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, just after sunset, we'll see the new moon for the first time. So I wanted to say a little bit about that. It's interesting, isn't it, having a new moon in Pisces right at the very end of Pisces, just as we're about to move into Aries. I mean, tomorrow is the spring equinox. Tomorrow, it's a big moment in the year where the sun, where the day and the night equalize across the planet. We have this extraordinary equinoctial moment of balance as the sun enters Aries with all that new springtime impulse and energy for what's coming, for what's new, for what's arising, for the light literally overtaking the darkness. Mythologically, this would be Horus overcoming Set in an Egyptian framing. And yet today we have a new moon in Pisces. So we're very much in that Pisces energy. It's the coming together of the sun and the moon in this deep, mystical water sign, which is all about endings. So there's a real juxtaposition today around endings and beginnings. I sat with my fire last night on the dark moon, just really contemplating what is moving out of my own life and what's moving out of existence for me and what I'm letting go of. I was doing a sort of review of the year. In fact, today would be a good day to do a kind of review of the year, because this is the last day of the astrological calendar. The astrological year begins as the sun enters Aries at that moment of the spring equinox. This is still celebrated, of course, in Iran, and all that's going on in Iran at the moment, of course. But the old Persian calendar, the Zoroastrian calendar, begins on at that actual moment of the spring equinox still, because that is in a way the authentic moment of beginning in the year. So but we're on a new moon in Pisces. We're with the endings, and perhaps there's a window today on the 19th of March today, as we experience this last day of the year, to really connect with what it is that we're releasing, what we're letting go of. Pisces is all about surrendering to the great mystery, surrendering to all the things that we can't know or understand or grasp rationally. It's really beyond us. Pisces is a sign that's really beyond us. We can't put it into words. We can't explain it. It's deeply mystical. It's deeply, it's really the waters of the unconscious, the collective unconscious swelling within us, and all of the images and all of the impressions that come to us in dreams, in visions. Pisces carries that visionary quality, that visionary energy. And it's also about, releasing all of those unlived dreams, all those unmet expectations. An exercise that I've been working with my students this month. So I run a 12-month program where we work deeply with the mysteries of each zodiac sign each month. And in our Pisces month, we've been looking at working with the unlived life, all those dreams and desires and wishes that may not have come to fruition, or that we may have had to let go of or release, or that all the disappointments in love, or hopes and dreams that we may have had that were dashed or never lived. And we've been contemplating that, because in a way Pisces receives all that doesn't become manifest. it's as if it can almost be thought of as the negative space into which everything drops, every decision that isn't made, every path that isn't followed, every dream that isn't fulfilled. There's something, it's like it returns to the great mystery somehow, but it somehow lives in us also as a longing. Pisces really carries the medicine of longing. And I think there's a place, certainly within this window, within this Pisces window, to really contemplate what we deeply long for, and perhaps also what we need to grieve, what hasn't come to fruition, what hasn't happened, what hasn't been realized, and to give some space and time to that. And in fact, one of the things that I've been encouraging my students to do is to go to the river, go to find a meaningful spot by a river, or even go to the sea and just maybe ride out, or just remember or connect with that unlived life, that part that we didn't get to realize, or at least haven't realized it in our lives yet. And then give it to the river. Let the river take it. Because the river will take it, the sea will take it, the sea will take our tears, the river will receive our longings and allow it to flow back to the sea, from where it all, where it all begins, I suppose, and where it all ends. We did this actually in Egypt when we were on the Nile. We had 3 beautiful days traveling along the Nile to Aswan. And we did an exercise there with our group where we did exactly this, and we gave our longings, our unlived life. We gave it to the Nile, and it's a can be a beautiful process. And perhaps, we can then, in order for us to begin again, in order for us to come back with, to arise again in Aries, and to find that fiery impulse to, where we can fully begin authentically. There is some wisdom in really being able to release, what's still hanging on, what are we carrying, what might be preventing us from moving cleanly into a new cycle. Because if we really tune in with the season, this moment of the spring equinox, this ingress into Aries, is a fundamental moment. It's a powerful point. And it's, if we can make an authentic beginning at this time, then that can set our year off our astrological year off in a direction. So tomorrow is the moment to set your intention for what is to come, to plant a seed. And of course, a new moon is also a time for planting a seed. It's just that the new moon is happening in Pisces, so there is a seed here, and there may be a shadow of the Piscean energy, even as we enter Aries, with the new moon being so close to it. But I think that the momentum will carry us if we can at least make some kind of offering today, perhaps, just to what's gone, to what's, this last cycle has gone. We're coming out of hibernation now. We're moving into this new year. Nowruz, they call it in Persian. It's Nowruz, the new year, the new beginning. Yeah. So it's endings and beginnings. It's interesting that tomorrow also Mercury comes out of retrograde. Mercury's still retrograde. Actually, the only retrograde planet still. Tomorrow, every planet will be direct. An interesting situation. We have a little while now. In fact, a few months, I think, a couple of months maybe, while we have all the planets in direct motion. So things often move apace when the planets are all direct. There's Mercury comes out of shadow actually on the 8th of April. That's when it sort of goes into its new phase. It has to go back over the ground that it's covered during its retrograde, and then it will go out of shadow around the 8th of April. And then we're really in new territory for all the planets. So yeah, it's I mean, Mercury's actually exactly conjunct the North Node at the moment as well. So there's something still a lot of planets in Pisces. Mars is also in Pisces. So even as we enter into this new Aries phase, we're still carrying we're still carrying some of that grief with us. So being aware of that and anything that we can do to allow it. And of course, Pisces also carries the possibility of mystical experience, of divine union, of it's born in compassion, in the recognition and the realization that we are that we're all one, that we're united at some deep level. We're deeply entangled with each other. Every time we make a judgment or about another, or we think it's all about, we have to continually remember that we are mystically entwined with each other. If something is arising in our life, if situation is coming into our life, it's because it's arising in us simultaneously. Yeah. I mean, we forget that all the time, don't we? But it's a good moment to remember it in Pisces, the ways in which we're all connected deeply, psychically in this way. Yeah. So yeah, it's all about endings and beginnings, and how close they are. One of the beauties of working with the zodiac is that we we realize that every time we get to the end of the cycle, we're also at the beginning of the next cycle. Such a much healthier way of living, isn't it? Rather than in this linear way that we are kind of conditioned to think in. Astrology teaches us about cycles, about living in cycles. So this is a really great moment to connect with that, connecting with how the end is also the beginning, like the snake, swallowing its own tail, the Ouroboros. It's really a moment we're at that moment in the year. Yeah. I mentioned earlier about my 12-month program. I run a 12-month one-to-one coaching program called 12 Gateways to Wholeness. It's based on the teachings in my book, Your Zodiac Soul. Just about to begin that, actually. We've got the first sessions the last week of March. But yeah, this is the moment. If you have a copy of my book, if you're working with my book, this is the time to read the Aries, to begin the journey in your own way as well. It can be really, really supportive of staying in tune with the rhythms by, reading a chapter of the book every month. I've been, and I'm really enjoying working in this way, coaching people through this process with the inquiry process. So I do have possibly one more place on that course. I'll know later today if there's a place still. So have a look on my website, kairosastrology.co.uk, and you'll find the course on there if you're interested in joining. I've also got some other courses coming up. I'm in Jersey in the Channel Islands running a course on the moon's nodes from the 3rd to the 5th of July. I've got my Astrodrama retreat in November, 12th to the 17th of November. And I'm also in Jersey doing my 12 Sacred Wounds retreat. In Sweden doing my 12 Sacred Wounds retreat from the 1st to 4th of October. So yeah, it's all on my website. Have a look at that. I will keep posting these broadcasts. I'm enjoying doing them. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you to all the people who are here. And if you're watching it on the recording, I wish you many blessings of the new moon and a happy equinox.